This conference will now be recorded.
Ram, you can start. Ram, she's taking some time. Okay, she's facing some issues. You can start. Not a problem. Okay.
We can't hear you.
You see my screen?
I can see your screen. I was okay. Now I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll get started. Before going into SAP EWM, okay, so what is warehouse management? We'll discuss what is warehouse management. Okay, so and then there are different warehouse management software, like not necessarily in SAP. So out of SAP also, we do have so many WMS systems are available, third-party systems. So why SAP EWM is so popular? And it is very tight integration. We'll discuss what is warehouse management. So warehouse management is kind of a physical entity where we store the goods and retrieve the goods very easily. For example, okay, someone from here non-SAP background to go in a simple way. So if you go to any medical shop, so if you ask any drug or any tablets, right? So they will simply go into the racks and then pick. So you might have observed, they might have small racks with the namings A, B, C. So if any drug starts with A, they'll go to that rack and then pick. The similar way in EWM, so we store all the goods in a particular kind of a racks on the floors, and then we do have a different kinds of a storage type. So we'll discuss in detail, how many kinds of a storage types, so what it offers, so everything we'll discuss. But in a simple language, what is warehouse? Warehouse is a physical space area where you can store the goods and then pick the goods for the customers and store the goods whenever you are getting or purchasing the goods from outside. It will come and then store your goods into your storage space. And then whenever there is a requirement to pick, you can pick the goods in a systematic way. So you can track the inventory also. Anytime, say if you ask, hey, I have a material, how much is the stock is available in my warehouse? So we can run the reports and then see which bin exactly, which space it is available. So if we don't have a warehouse management and we have a storage location, say for example, if we don't have a structured storage racks or something, right, to store the goods for a particular material, it will go into this space. Another material, it will go into that space. So third material go into another space. If you don't have a structured warehouse management, so we deal it as a storage location level. So what is storage location? It is a very wider area. So you can keep every material there itself, and it is very difficult to retrieve or see physically what material it is if you dump everything into the very big space. So that is called as a IM location. So if we have a IM, we have a EWM. We'll discuss what is IM, what is EWM. So when it comes to WM, storing is in a structured way. So where you can track the inventory, where exactly it is available. Physically, I can go and pick. The moment you say the material, we can run the report and we will be knowing like where this material exactly is available. And we have so many complex warehouses also. Like you can see in the picture number 3. So you have a trucks waiting, right? These are all the docking doors. You might have, I mean, if someone might have seen the warehouses, right? Where you have all the doors, trucks will go and dock the doors, and then loading and unloading activities are happening. Very big warehouses, and then you do have lakhs and lakhs of square feet space available, and some of the warehouses handles like thousands and lakhs of materials within the warehouse. And then even though we handle so many thousands of materials, EWM system will actually tell where this material has to go whenever we are receiving as inbounds, and also tells from where it has to pick. And then we have a internal adjustments, and then we have a pickings, we have putaways. We'll discuss in detail. But on a overall, for non-SAP, SAP guys might understand, like, if you are working off any of the module. And then for non-SAP guys, in SAP, what is WM? WM is a physical entity where you can systematically store your goods and retrieve your goods whenever there is a necessity. And also, we handle the complex processes in extended warehouse management. So we have a different POSCs, LOSCs, and then we can integrate to ASRS, and then robotic machines, and then conveyor belts. Okay, so many complex processes we can handle in our EWM also. Go to next slide. So as I mentioned, right, what are all the warehouse management function? It tracks particular goods of materials for storage and a retrieval also. And the lowest organizational entity, we call it as a storage bin. Storage bin is a small place where you exactly keep the material, be it as a pallets or a loose materials, anything. We call it as a storage bin in SAP EWM, even in the WM also. So we can control all the goods movements of the materials within the warehouse. So every movement is recorded. The moment you do goods in, it will be recorded. You goods out, it will be recorded. So if you are adjusting, moving from one bin to another bin, it will be recorded. So every goods movement will be recorded in a warehouse management system. And how it started, like, in 1994 in SAP, called R3 of ERP. So these ERP systems are going away after 2027. All NetWeaver systems end of life cycle from 2027 onwards. So SAP is now only operating on S4HANA. So we'll discuss about S4HANA versions, what is the latest version is available today, and what are all the different deployment options for EWM. We'll discuss in detail. So way back in 90s, it's within the ECC. It's kind of a only lean warehouse. Then warehouse management came into picture within the ECC. So afterwards, there is a decentralized EWM came into picture. Now it is completely extended warehouse management system. We do have a warehouse management system, but in a lighter way. The old warehouse management system in S4HANA, so we call it as a stockroom management, and very limited functionalities are given by SAP, because the reason is they want to encourage all the business to use extended warehouse management instead of the old WM. And they also stop the any enhancements or development since almost 15 to 20 years. There is no single development happened on the WM space. So every investment from SAP is in that warehouse management space is on extended warehouse management only. So I'll take a pause here. Please let me know if you have any doubts. Feel free to ask. There is, I mean, nothing to shy or something like, so we are here to learn. So if you don't understand anything, please let me ask.
Ram, if you are going to cover extended warehouse management complete curriculum in this, is there
Right, right.
anything, yeah, you are going to do that. Is there
Mhm.
anything that we should know about WM?
Not necessarily, but I can give you the touch based on what is there in the WM. As I mentioned, right, SAP is discouraging to use the SAP WM. So every investment is happening on EWM only. And when it comes to S4HANA, and SAP also recommends, hey, if you want to use the WM functionalities, why can't we use basic EWM functionalities? And they came up with the idea called basic license and then advanced license. So basic license, it covers as part of S4HANA. You no need to pay any licensing cost. Okay. So that is what the encouragement from the SAP. So instead of going into the WM, so why can't you use the basic EWM? And then if you are using a complex warehouses, complex business functionalities, of course, you need a advanced license. So for standard core WM functionalities are covered under the basic EWM. So if you are buying a S4HANA license, so EWM is part of that license by itself. And now business users are started exploring the basic WM, basic EWM. So I'll give you the just a background, like, what is during our course, right? While we are discussing about the scenarios, I'll also explain how it works in EWM. Say if you are doing any put away, so maybe we'll discuss how it works in a WM side. There is no much difference on the functionality side. So there also you have a put away, picking, internal transfers, ad management, handheld device operations, everything are available on WM also. In EWM, it works as a different way, but the functionalities are same. Here also we have a put away, picking, and then bin to bin transfers, material to material, batch to batch, posting changes, replenishment, physical inventory. So most of the process are available in WM and EWM also. EWM having more advanced functionalities like VAS, POSC, LOSC, metal flow systems. So advanced functionalities are available on the, you have a kitting, you have advanced production integration. So all these functionalities are available on EWM only. As I mentioned, SAP is not spending a single rupee on the existing WM functionalities. I'm talking about since 20 years, there is no single note or single enhancement, single functionality added to the existing WM scope.
Okay, I don't know WM. If I learn this EWM, I'm not getting into trouble, right? When I get a project on this, like
No, no,
I don't
no,
have
no,
any
no,
idea.
no, 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 no. You can straight away learn EWM. That's not a problem. So this is the one which everybody uses now. And so whoever is using the WM businesses, right? So they are also slowly migrating to EWM from WM to EWM. As I mentioned, right? So uh, SAP came up with the functionality called stockroom management in S4HANA, and they offered only very light WM functionalities. If still business users wants to use only WM, and then very lighter way, so you don't get any functionalities. Say it fits for the small warehouses where they don't need any complex process or something, just to store the goods in a small physical structure of the warehouse. You do put away, you do picking, very small light operations. Maybe they can explore that WM option of stockroom management. Even then, SAP is recommending, hey, why can't you use the basic version of EWM, which covers in the license of S4HANA itself. Did I answer your question?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, thank you. Any other doubts?
no, I'm good.
Hi Ram, this is Sai Ram.
Yes,
So
I.
I have a doubt. if the customer they are using like WM, and if they
Yep.
want to migrate to EWM,
Yep.
do you have any tools to migrate, or they have to implement from scratch?
No, we do have a tools to migrate.
Okay.
So there is a LEWM to EWM migration tools. Documents are available. I can provide that document. This is standard SAP documents. Yeah.
Okay, I have one more question that if they want to migrate, so is that they have to completely migrate to EWM for all the plans, or they can use WM for specific plans, and so whatever the plans they want, they can migrate to EWM, right?
Possible. Possible. Yeah. So some warehouses still they can continue on WM. And as I mentioned, right, if the operations are complex, if they want to go to EWM, then can migrate from WM to EWM. And some warehouses, some plants, if still want to continue on WM, it is still possible. Not necessarily to go everything into EWM.
Okay, but if the customer they want to implement fresh WM or EWM, so how we can decide or propose to customer that whichever is required or which
No,
is
going forward, it's completely as I mentioned, right? It's a EWM only. Okay, uh, one of the convincing point is investment, right? SAP is investing only on EWM. Any future functionalities, any investments or any R&D is happening, any business functions are adding, everything will be added to EWM only. That's it. So nothing on a WM. So WM, if they want to explore, that's only very basic put away, basic outbound picking functionalities are available. And those basic picking and put away are available also on EWM side in S4HANA. So, and we can suggest to go to EWM. And the advantages, as I mentioned, right? Like, feature investments and then upgrade. SAP may stop any time on the existing WM side, but the feature is only EWM. So they are continuing adding all the functions to the EWM only. So better to go EWM. So in that way, we can convince the business users, like, maybe you can give kind of a small demo, what is EWM, what it offers. And yeah, so from there we can take it forward.
Okay, I got that. But I have
Yeah,
one more doubt. Like, for example, if the customer they want to use decentralized EWM, okay,
yeah.
so normally they will be having WM in the system, and you know the WM and EWM we have to map it right. EWM warehouse numbers, 3 digit or 4 digit.
We'll
So
go into that in detail, like, what are all the different deployment options. Okay.
okay,
We do have a embedded EWM on S4HANA. We do have a decentralized EWM on S4HANA. So we do have a decentralized EWM on 9.5. That is NetWeaver system, but all NetWeaver systems are going away, right? So future is only S4HANA. So you don't have any NetWeaver system going forward after 2027, maybe till 2030. After 2030, all NetWeaver systems is end of life. Like be it as your PIPO, MII, all your existing ECC also have to be migrated to S4HANA. And if you are using existing EWM or 9.5 NetWeaver system, those has to be migrated to S4HANA. So everything to be migrated to S4HANA, and it is end of life cycle of all NetWeaver systems.
okay, okay, got it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we'll go what are all the different deployment options. Maybe I'll just go to any of the Word document. Let me explain in the Word document what are all the different deployment options are available. So currently we call it as a ECC, the core enterprise system, right? So called ECC. And within this, you have a WM. So within the ECC, we have a core WM system is available. So many of the business users are using, customers are using, like, whoever is on the WM space since 90s, they use this particular ECC and the EWM. So these are like, NetWeaver systems, right? As I mentioned, every NetWeaver system is end of life. 2027 is the last date given by SAP. And if the customers are still continue on that, so till 2030 with the paid licenses, okay, they can continue. But future is completely on S4 HANA. So now the current version of S4 HANA is 2023 FPS 03 feature stack pack 2003. So this is the latest S4 HANA available in the market. Okay, coming to the EWM. So going forward, like, you get so many migration projects, like from ECC to S4 HANA migration. If we are customers are using like ECC and their EWM system is EWM 9.5 as a decentralized EWM. So if they are using ECC and then extended warehouse management is 9.5, so this is also should be migrated to S4 HANA only. So there is no other way after 2027. So that's the reason in the market also we are getting so many migration projects. So their ECC is also converted to S4 HANA, existing 9.5 also to be converted. As I mentioned, right, I am also working on the project where we are on EWM 9.5 and we are migrating to S4 HANA 2023 now. So coming to the deployment options, you can have in the future, everything will be like this. So you can have S4 HANA. Within this, maybe 21 or 23, whatever it may be. So within this, you have a EWM, and this is called as a embedded EWM. That means within the same box, you have all other modules like MMSD, PPFICO, and everything. On top of that, you have a EWM also. You have a EWM also. This is called embedded EWM. And we do have a one more architecture called S4 HANA 2023. And then you have a one more box here. Again, same S4 HANA 2023. And this we call it as a decentral EWM on S4 HANA. This is called decentral EWM on S4 HANA. And what are all the differences between this and then this? For what kind of customers this particular architecture suits, and for what kind of customers this particular architecture suits. And this architecture suits for the low volume of the business transactions, and they don't worry about the downtimes. Okay, so I'm okay if S4 goes down, my EWM also goes down. I'm okay. I'm not having any such complex process. We can wait. And in that such cases, very low volume of the operations. So your number of warehouses are very small. Then you can go for this particular architecture, S4 HANA. And within S4 HANA, you have a EWM also. Say if you have a very complex warehouses, very big volumes, and then millions of transactions are happening every day, every month, right? And I want to operate independent of your S4. If S4, say for example, I have a planned downtime for 1 day. Okay, so I am doing some maintenance for this particular system, planned downtime for 8 hours, and my business cannot stop. I cannot stop my warehouse operations because I need to fulfill my customer orders. So in those scenarios, very very huge volume of the operations. The number of transactions are happening very high, and we don't want any downtimes. We need to operate independent of S4HANA. Then in those cases, this is the best fit, decentralized EWM on S4HANA. And now one of the project which I am doing is this kind of architecture. So we do have a decentralized EWM 9.5 and getting migrated to S4HANA 2023. So this is kind of a future architect. So only these two architectures will be available going forward. And existing architectures are different. So you have a ECC and you have a EWM maybe 9.5. And you also have S4HANA. You already migrated EC2 to S4HANA, but still you are using EWM 9.5 only. So the project where I am working, we are into this architecture. So we have a S4HANA. All our non-existing EWM modules are running in this system. We call it as a core ERP of S4HANA. So your other modules other than EWM, everything runs into this S4HANA, and EWM is a separate box, but it is a NetWeaver system. It's not a S4HANA system. It is called EWM 9.5. The version is 9.5. The latest version is 9.5. And this will be the last version, as I mentioned, right? So all our NetWeaver systems are going away. So you have to migrate to S4HANA. So now we are migrating from EWM 9.5 to S4HANA 2023 as a decentralized EWM on S4HANA. So we also explored this option also. Hey, why can't we move to, since we have a S4HANA box, and why can't we move to within the same box as a embedded EWM? And because as I mentioned, right, so we need to run independently, and then common downtime needed, and the volume of the operations also, because we do have somewhere around 25 warehouses across the globe, and having like so very huge volume of the data, like if I look at the systems in a day, they might be of thousands of warehouse tasks are happening, and so many handling units picking at the same time. So, and we decided it may not be fit for this particular architecture. It may give some of the performance related issues also in the future. So that's the reason it is decided to go with the decentralized EWM on S4HANA, meaning we have a S4HANA and also the EWM also into the another box of S4HANA. So this is the future architecture. So this one, whatever it is I am highlighting here, right? So this will be the future architect. And this is the existing one. Existing one, if you ask me, so how long will it stay? So from 2027, slowly people are started migrating. So they have to migrate the existing ECC they have to migrate to S4HANA. And if they have any NetWeaver system of 9.5, migrate to S4HANA. Any doubts here on the architecture side, the landscape side? No? Clear? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are good, Rob.
Okay, thank you. Then I'll go to PPT. So this is what we discussed in detail, whatever in these slides, right? So I explained what is the architectures what we have. It is maintained here also same, like so. But you can connect n number of ERP systems to one single EWM. So that is also possible. Say for example, in say APAC, we have one box. say for example, I'm using, okay, North America. So we have a three ERP systems, and these three ERP systems can be connected to one EWM system. So you can connect from this to here, and here to here, and here to here. So this is possible. So you have a centralized warehousing system, and you can configure all the plants across the globe, all the warehouses across the globe, and into the single system, and you can connect your ECC ERP system to here. So whatever the deliveries you created for these APAC plants can come here and then start their operations. And any transactions happening here, it will come to the same system. Any transactions happening here, it will come to the same system. So this is also possible architecture. So you can have one S4HANA box and then connect it to multiple ERP systems. This is what the architecture here, like, you can connect different S4HANA and then EWM as a standalone, right? So whatever the options we discuss, the same here. So S4HANA landscape, as we mentioned, right? It started from 2015 release, and then now we are into 2023. So these are all old slides. Now the latest version is 2023, and then the WM box, whatever we are highlighting here, it is called as a stock room management. The functionality name call it as a stock room management, and we get the very limited functionalities of stock room management. And within the same S4HANA, you have a embedded EWM. So we discussed this option, right? This is embedded EWM. So this one, S4HANA and plus EWM available in this particular architecture. So you can run the transactions within the same. You can create a purchase order, you can create a delivery, and you can see within the same system, you can run the EWM transactions here. Everything happens within the same box. And one more architecture is this one. So you do have one S4HANA box and then another S4HANA box. So all other transactions happening here and your warehouse operations are happening in this particular system. So this is dedicated for warehouse only, no other transactions. But whereas in this box, everything happen within this box. So you can have your purchase orders, sales orders, production orders, everything happen within the same box. On top of that, you execute your EWM transactions also. Your put away, picking, everything happens within the same box. And here, any delivery you create, it will go here. So any postings you do here, it will come here. So it is both the directionals, right? Okay. And so if we have a EWM as a separate box, EWM as a separate box like this, either this scenario, either is this scenario or this scenario or this scenario, either of the cases, your EWM box is a separate, either 9.5 or S4HANA box. So you have a decentralized. If you have a separate box of EWM, that is called as a decentralized EWM. It's not embedded. It's a separate box. We call it as a decentralized or a sidecar. So if you have a decentralized, you need to send some data from your existing ERP or S4HANA, anything, to your EWM box. Then only it understand, right? Say if I create a delivery and it should get distributed to your EWM system for further execution. And that goes, we have a two data to be transferred. One is master data. Second one is transactional data. So master data will be pushed using the uh, technology called SIF, core interface. It is called a core interface. All your materials, vendors, customers, batches, everything will be pushed using the system called core interface. And the moment you shift, it will be available in your EWM box using the connections. You need to establish the connection between these two systems, and it will be available here. And all the transactional data, be it as your inbound deliveries or outbound deliveries, any posting changes, everything will be communicated using the QRFC, queued RFC, remote function call. Okay, so it will be called as a QRFC technology. All transactions will go with the QRFC, and then all master data will go with the SIF. Now, I'll go here. SIF functionalities are used if your destination system is EWM 9.5. If your destination system is only 9.5, then in this case, in these two cases, if your destination system is EWM 9.5, that is our NetWeaver system, then we push all the master data using the SIF. Will you push using the SIF? But in this case, if you are using your destination system as S4HANA, then your master data will be pushed through iDocs. You have a material like MatMass. Everything will be pushed as a iDocs because SIF is not supported for this particular landscape. Your destination system, the moment it is S4HANA, core interface will not work. So everything will be used through iDocs or a DRF. And your materials, vendors, customers, batches, everything will be pushed using the Premas, WebMass. BatMass. So these are all the IDOC types. So we will be pushing the data using the IDOCs only. If your destination is 9.5 and we use the core interface. So this is called core interface. We use core interface methodology if your destination is 9.5 on SCM Stack NetWeaver system. And transactional data, both the architectures, be it as this architecture, either your destination EWM is a 9.5 or S4HANA, transactional data still continue using the technology called QRFC. So this is kind of a core interface. You push materials, plants, customers, vendors, and then batches also. Everything will be pushed to your target system as EWM, and then it is called a SIF. So you can push everything from the source system to your destination EWM system called SIF. So the same, your customers, vendors, and then everything will be distributed here. Transactions are QRFC. Either within EWM and S4HANA or both different options of ERP to EWM. Everything is followed by QRFC. All your transactional data follows with QRFC only. This is core interface of the materials. Yeah. So how do we connect? How do we connect your EWM? As someone asked, like different storage location, how do we connect? So we have a organizational data. So from that organizational data, we'll discuss in detail, like, for non-SAP guys, it might be very, very tough to digest. SAP guys might be okay. And we'll go slowly. When we start the course, slowly we'll discuss, like, what is the plant? What is the storage location? How do we link it with the EWM? What is the meaning of storage location? What is the meaning of warehouse number? So why we need a warehouse number? How we are going to connect to your EWM warehouse number? So we'll discuss in detail during the course. So at the high level, so it will be connected with the storage location. Once you have a storage location that is connected to your EWM warehouse number. Yeah. So if you see the warehouse structure, right? So overall warehouse structure, say whenever my goods are coming, say for example, I ordered some goods to my warehouse. Okay, raw materials I have ordered, and then I want to store the raw materials in my warehouse. And you have all the doors here. You can see door 1, door 2, door 3 here. All my trucks are coming here and then docked here, or docked in particular door, and then doors will be opened. You unload the goods into this space. This space is called as a staging area for inbound. And then you unload everything here. From here, it will directly go to your destination storage steps where you want to store a particular material. It might be go here, it might go to here, it might go here, and it might go here in the fixed bins. So we have a particular set of rules available in EWM system. Whenever I get any inbound delivery, this material has to go to which storage type? Where is my physical space reserved for this particular material? And it will be automatically determined using the warehouse tasks. We'll discuss about what warehouse task and everything. And so all the trucks come here, inbound goods, and then we'll store the goods within the warehouse. And then you have on the other side of the warehouse where your uh, picking activities are happening. Say you fulfill the customer orders because I am selling some products. I have a outbound delivery, and then I need to send my goods to my customer. So here we have a doors, and then trucks will come, empty trucks will come here and docking here, and we pick the stock from the regular storage types where this material is available, and then place it here, and then one of the operator, they will pick the stock from here and then load it into the trucks via door. So all our trucks will be docked to your door, and then you can load the stock into the truck, and then finally truck will be leaving. Your post goods issues are happening in the system. So typically, these are all the operations are happening, and inbound operations and then outbound operations. And we do have a internal adjustments also, like, you have a fixed bins, and for a particular material, the stock is empty, and then you get the stock from here and then fulfill here. This is bin to bin movement called the replenishment. So internal movements are also happening. So to give the best examples of internal, so if you go to any stores like supermarket or Walmart, so uh, all the products are accessible to you in the racks. So once the materials are empty, so for example, you went in, so you have say 5 oil packets, and then you picked everything off. So now it is empty, right? So and then within the stores, what they do, they run the replenishment operation. So they keep the oil packet somewhere else in the bulk, and then they get some 10 to 15 oil packets and then fulfill to that particular rack. Okay, so that is called a internal movement. It happens internally, and then fulfill this particular bins as a fixed bin. So that internal movements also happen within the warehouse. So on a overall, so you do have inbound operations, you do have outbound operations within the warehouse, and then you store the goods here, and then also you do the adjustments within the warehouse. You move stock from one bin to another bin. So that internal adjustments. So this we have discussed, like, customer vendors are going to SAP system as a business. So whenever you create a purchase order inbound delivery, it will go to inbound extended warehouse management as an inbound delivery. So it will create one more document here. This document will be pushed, and then it will create a one more document in the EWM. So using this document, we'll start all our inbound activities like unloading the stock, placing the stock into the particular bins. Everything happens using this particular documents called inbound delivery. Instead of doing this, and then I'll go to the document and then explain. And on this course, we are going to discuss in our course, and our system is embedded EWM on S4HANA. Embedded EWM on S4. So all our operations happening on the same box, and we don't have this architecture like this. We have a one S4HANA here, one more S4HANA here, called this as a decentralized EWM. But I will explain what is the difference between this embedded EWM and the decentralized EWM on S4HANA. But all our transactions are happening in this landscape. Okay. So going forward, we'll discuss only about this in detail. And so the differences between embedded and the decentralized also we will discuss. And within the embedded EWM, and we don't need to push any of the materials, vendors, customers, batches. No need to push from your S4HANA to your EWM because everything within the same system. So your SIF is not required, your IDOC push is not required. The moment you create a material and readily available on the EWM also. So the moment you create a vendor, the moment we create a customer, it will be available in this EWM. So the one advantage for EWM of embedded is no need to push off any of your master data. Transactional data, yes, we still need to push to your EWM using the QRFC that we will discuss. So no more SIF or no more IDOC push is required for the master data. So master data is readily available. Readily available. And then when it comes to the transactional, though you have a single box where you have a EWM and other modules running on the same system, and transactional still go with the QRFC working. And within the same box, SAP treats it as a two different systems. Still, SAP treats it as a two different systems, and then we created dummy logical systems. I'll explain what is dummy logical system going forward. How to connect between your, even though it is embedded, you need to connect. You need to connect your EWM to your S4 storage locations. Any doubts? Someone?
Yeah, Ram, a quick question. So,
Mhm.
for this master data is readily available means is it real time, like a HANA replica, or is it like a batch schedule?
No, the moment so material master will be created as MM01, right?
Yeah.
And then the MM01 data will be used on the EWM also. Like only thing is you need to say, for example, I created a BP. Okay. Previously, what happening if you have a separate EWM box, this BP has to be pushed to your EWM system as a decentralized EWM on S4HANA or 9.5. You have to push this BP and the BP will be created in your destination system. Similarly, if you create a MM01 here and then you push the material and then it was creating the material in SAP APO and then MAT1 tables. So it was available. The moment you SIF, if it is a exist 9.5, it will go and sit into this particular. And if it is a S4 HANA decentralized, again it will store on the MM03 only, MM01 or 03 tables. So BP also same. You push the BP and it will be available in the BP. But now here you have a same system, right? The moment you store MM01, create a metal master, you create a vendor and customers using the BP, and it is available within the same database here, right? So EWM access that particular tables, whatever stores. So no need to push anything because everything happens within the same box. Whereas decentralized, you need to push either through SIF or through IDOCs. Your master data should be SIFed here. And first time you need to SIF everything. So next time onwards, like, with the change pointers, the moment you do any change or the moment you create any new material will be automatically SIFed or automatic IDOC will be created and then pushed. No need to push anything manually. So first time during implementation, you have to push all the mass materials, all vendors and customers for the decentralized. And going forward, it will be on the change pointers. You do any changes or any new material created, any new vendor customer created, it will be either SIFT or through IDOC, it will push automatically to your destination system. But whereas in the embedded, so no need to do any SIFT because within the same database it is available, and EWM also within the same box, it will access the same tables. Did I answer
Yeah.
your question?
Yes, yes. And for the SIF, we have this problem of one record gone bad or struck. All the
Hmm.
queue will be forever sitting
Everything will
there.
be stuck. Yeah, yeah. So unless until you clear that error, right, it will stuck. Everything.
It's still the same then.
Yeah, still the same. Still the same.
Okay.
Still the same. Yeah.
SIF means is it is with the iDocs or what it
No,
No,
is?
no,
it is
SIF
Which
a
is
which
for
separate called as core interface using the APO
okay.
methodologies. Like if I have
it's
an SAP
SAP
system,
ERP to SAP APO before
yeah,
S4HANA. It's the
yeah.
CIF, SIF functionality was the pipeline it used to give the data between front and backwards. But
Okay, okay.
one
So you can.
record goes bad, it sits there forever until someone work on it or clears it.
So this is called the core interface model called SIF, and you can give your destination system as a EWM. So as I mentioned, right? So this SIF will work. Your destination system is only in EWM on NetWeaver 9.5. If your destination EWM is on S4HANA and there is no core interface, you have to go and switch your master data push through IDOCs or a DRF framework, web services. So only these three
So
methods are
so
available.
with the so with the S4 we don't use the SIF or we use the SIF with S4 decentralized.
With S4 decentralized, I'll go again here. So if you are using this, so your source is also S4HANA. Forget about the source. If your destination is S4HANA, for example, if your destination system EWM is S4HANA, no SIF. If your destination is 9.5, be it as your source is ECC or S4HANA, either of the case, if your destination is on 9.5, you use SIF for both the cases. Here also SIF and here also SIF. So I'm on S4HANA system. My source system is S4HANA. I have a SIF transaction here. I can push materials, I can push batches, I can push vendors, I can push customers. Everything will be pushed to my destination system. And this is called CF, core interface. So again, I'm saying if your destination system is EWM 9.5, I just mentioned 9.5, it is 9.x. So you have a 9.0, 9.2, 9.34, and then 9.5. The latest is 9.5. If your destination system is 9.5, so you use SIF. If your destination system is S4HANA, we use IDOCs. IDOCs or DRF or web services anyway. SIF will not work. Here?
Okay, okay, got it. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, right. Okay, so you push all your master data, and but whereas the transactional data still go as QRFC only, queued RFC. So since we are going to touch base this particular landscape we are using for our course, embedded EWM on S4HANA. So whenever you create any master data, so no SIF. SIF is not required. IDOC push is not required because everything is available within the same box. And the moment you store materials, the moment you store BPs, vendor, customer, and then batches, everything will be available on accessible for EWM. And transactional, still we go with the QRFC model. But whatever the deliveries you create, right? Still we can push those deliveries to your EWM as a separate transaction. And yeah, that still follows the QRFC. So we'll discuss what is QRFC, how the queues will be moving between these two systems, and how logically we separate. Though it is available within the same box, logically we have to separate it. Okay, so that we can discuss those details in the organizational structure. So I'll quickly go through the course content, what we are going to cover here. And first we have to start with our organization structure of the MM. So MM side, we create a plant because EWM, you cannot directly start EWM operations because you need to have this core organization structure needs to be created in the system. So we need to create a plants under MM and then storage location and then sales organization, distribution channel division and the sales area from the SD side. And the production side, your production order types, and then relevant configuration. And QM side also, we need to have some inspection related settings are required. And then logistics execution side, some shipping points, everything will be required. So this core structure needs to be defined in the system, though we are going to discuss in detail about the EWM. So we have to learn all these things, like, what is these organization units? Everything should be discussed. So how to create a structure. So once this core structure is ready, then only we can start your EWM operations. So you need to start with the company code that comes under the financial FI, and then plant, storage location, purchase organization, sales organization, and then distribution channels, divisions, sales area, order types. Once you have everything ready from your core system, core S4HANA system, then it comes to EWM master data, connections to EWM, and then EWM master data. So products, vendors, customer, BPs within the EWM, as I mentioned, right? So no need to SIF anything here if you are using the uh, embedded EWM. We are using embedded EWM here, and we'll discuss, like, how the vendors and customers created as a business partners. So now there is no vendor or customer concept. Everything we call it as a business partner here. And we'll start with S4 EWM integration setup. So how to connect S4 and EWM, be it as a embedded or decentralized, we need to have some of these RFC connections. I'll show here, like, how we are going to connect between your S4 modules to your EWM. And then, so once base setup is, everything is ready, connections are established, master data is ready, arc structure is ready, then we are ready to go and explore our EWM options, like inbound process, as we discussed inbound. So what kind of inbound operations we have, and how your inbound delivery created in your S4 system will get distributed to your EWM, and how to map your document types, your inbound delivery document types, your EWM document types, and then going forward, how to use the putaways, how to store the goods, what are all the different putaway rules are available. And then you have a process oriented storage control with a deconsolidation. And these are all advanced options available only in EWM. So your core WM, these options are not available. So we will discuss in delay and put away, inbound packing, and then handling units. How do we handle the handling units? And when it comes to the outbound process, this is kind of a picking. So where you send the goods to your customers or your another plant. This falls under the outbound. Inbound is where you take the goods in and store your goods from the external vendors or from your external plants. Outbound, so we map the document types, and then so how do you pick your goods? What is the picking strategies? And then process oriented storage control. How do you determine your batches, batch management, LOAC, layout oriented storage controls, And so we have so many processes in the EWM, warehouse order creation rules, value added services, kit to stock, kit to order, reverse kitting, wave management. So we have to discuss all these scenarios in detail and how what is the advantage of this particular scenario and which business use these particular functionalities also we'll discuss. So kit to stock. So which business function has to use. So it is not applicable for everyone. If someone uses automobile, they use for this particular kit to stock and kit to order functionalities. So replenishments, as I mentioned, you move the stock from one bin to another bin, and we have different replenishment methodologies. And of course, we do the physical inventory. As this is one of the legal requirement. Every year you have to count what is the stock physically available in your warehouse. And we can do the posting changes also. One stock to another stock, unrestricted to quality, quality to block, material to material, batch to batch. You can do the scrapping once the stock is expired. So all these we can discuss in detail. And then, and we do have a ad management, transportation units for your outbound or inbound deliveries. We can discuss in detail about ad management process. And then you have a production integration. So we do have a production orders where you do the manufacturing of the operations. We create a production orders and then complete integration of the production with your EWM, with the control cycles, advanced production integration, what we have. So we'll discuss in detail about the production integration. And then we do have the QM integration with the EWM. Yeah, with the inspection lots, usage decisions and everything. So EWM will integrate your MM for all your inbound procurement operations, your SD, all your outbound operations, your customer orders or everything, it will be integrated with the SD. And then PP, so all your production operations, you create a production order, you manufacture a goods. For that manufacturing, you need to supply some of the raw materials to manufacture that production. So everything will be handled in EWM. So you keep the raw material, you keep the packaging material, everything in your warehouse, and you issue to your production work centers. And then using those materials, they produce the finished goods, and finished goods also will come to EWM and store as a finished goods in EWM to send to the customer orders. So your PP and then your QM. So incoming raw material inspection, and you need to record some of the inspections, right? So whether this material is good or not, quality control, that QM integration also will be done. And we also have the TM integration with EWM. So I think we are not going to discuss this TM integration, but other modules we will discuss in detail. And we do have some GTS integration also with EWM, Global Trade Systems. And these two, because we need a separate setup and everything, right? TM and GTS. But I will touch upon how TM is integrated with EWM. So these many modules are integrated with your EWM operations. So this is the course content and which we are going to discuss. So whatever I mentioned here is either of the module it will be integrated. All your inbounds are integrated with your MM, purchase orders, and then all your outbound process is integrated with the sales orders and then stock transport orders. And then production replenishment, anyway, internal process. And then your production orders is integrated with advanced production integration. And then QM is integrated with your quality inspection. I'll take a pause here. Any doubts?
Can you share the curriculum?
Yeah, I'll share. I'll maybe
Yeah, I'll share in the
I'll ask.
WhatsApp. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Naveen will share the curriculum. So
And also
Around
like some any
integration part.
real-time developments and these real-time
Okay.
yeah,
So
developments
in
and
that
projects.
integration
yes,
part, will you teach some how to create orders in SD?
Yeah, we have to start from scratch. So during the course of thing, right? So we have to define everything from everything from SD. So without SD organization setup, like, I should create a sales organization, okay, distribution channel, divisions, and assign the sales organization to my company code, to my plants, right? So without that, and then I need to create my order types, okay, or order types, and then delivery types, and then those will be communicated to your EWM. You need to map in EWM also. If I create a OR and I create a delivery with a LF, what is my document type of equivalent to LF in my EWM? Okay, so everything we have to create. So I mean, we'll touch upon each and every integration point. The moment you create a order, the moment you create a delivery, and then I'll show you how the delivery will be distributed using the integrations, and it'll be automatically available in your EW system. How it is pushing using the QRFC functions, right? We'll discuss about QRFC, and then how the mapping happens between your uh, delivery in EWM and delivery in S4. So we'll discuss. So that is anyway required. So you have to maintain company code, financial data needs to be created, your data has to be created, SD data has to be created, production data has to be created. Data in the sense I need to create a SPR also, org structure also to be created uh, for these modules. So we have to set up everything. Otherwise, you cannot work independently alone in EWM unless we have this core org structure is available. That's the advantage of, like, you are a EWM consultant or a TM consultant, and we will have overall knowledge on what is happening on the MM side, what is happening on the SD, what is happening on the PP side, what is happening on the QM side, and then TM side. So you'll know everything. You'll know everything on the core modules overall, like, by the end of the course, along with EWM we are going to discuss in depth, but along with the EWM, so we'll also learn what is happening on other modules. So how do we create a purchase order? How can I create an inbound delivery here? How can I create a sales order? How can I create a delivery against the sales order? Okay, and then how can I create a production order? How can I create a inspection lots? So we'll discuss all these also, like, so we'll run those transactions also. Unless until we run those transactions, you cannot see the data in EWM. So that is the advantage of being as either EWM or TM. You will know everything. So if you are a MM consultant, I started as career my MM, right? So I know only MM. I don't know what is happening on the sales side. So after switching to WM and EWM, so at least I got some knowledge. I cannot say fully. I got some knowledge, and then I can operate independently of, like, so what is happening on sales side. I can define every sales structure and then create orders and then push your copy controls, and then everything I can do independently. So yeah, so you need to have some knowledge on the core modules also with EWM, and we will get those knowledge going forward along with EW. And yeah, I'll give some the my experience on the enhancement side. So any enhancements I can give you, like, what we have done, so that you will get some idea on the enhancement sides also. Like any developments, any enhancements of the functionalities, I'll give my based on my experience. Anything, anything else from your
Yeah,
side?
hi Ram.
Yeah.
Do you covered in this curriculum like MFS and SRS activities?
MFS, no, because we need to have so much of stuff needs to be done here, right? So MFS definitely no. We do have
Yes.
different Telegram channels and everything. So that is very tough.
Is there any topics will you covered in related to automatic warehouse?
I can touch upon maybe RFID technologies where I worked one project with the tags, okay, completely RFID tags. How you have like, so you have FASTag, right? FASTag kind of a tag we have on the car. So similar FASTag technology, tag technology we used on the pallets. Okay, so and then everything will be with the radio signals. It will call that RFC, RFID tags, and then automatically it shows whether this tag what belongs to which handling unit. So that I can give you overall my experience on the automation what we have done. ASRS, yes, I think it operates. We need to have a black box EWM system, a WMS system with ASRS, right? So, and there are different methodologies to connect with ASRS. One is IDOC methodologies. Once you create a warehouse task will go to your ASRS system, and then they will execute. So I can give you overall on the ASRS if you need. Yeah, at the end of the course, we'll discuss in detail. So what IDOC types are used for the ASRS, and then your warehouse task confirmation, and then how do you maintain the single bin in EWM for ASRS, and then the physical structure will be maintained in ASRS WMS system. So yeah, I think I can discuss. I can give you some overall architecture of about the ASRS. But in the system, it is very difficult because we need to have the SRS systems also, right? It is. I mean, I can give you a conceptual idea and everything, but anything connected to the third party, we cannot cover here. And I can give you examples of manufacturing execution system, MES system, where the production happens. The moment you create a production order, it will directly go to the MES system. And then from the MES, it will come to EWM directly once the manufacturing is completed and how it integrates to EWM. So that I can give overall MES architecture also in the production integration. But we cannot see the live examples because MES is a third party system. We cannot see those. But I can explain what is the integration point, touch point here. What documents will be created in EWM using the MAS systems.
And one more, like two more things I'm saying, like slotting and wave management.
Mhm.
Those are topics you're covering in this curriculum.
Wave definitely yes. I mean slotting. I don't think nobody is using it. It might like I'm having 10 years. I never use slotting. But if you want to cover, I can cover. But I don't think that is most. So we need to concentrate and on the what I can say, the most used scenarios as in depth. Like you should be like an expert in those scenarios. Be it inbound, outbound, wave. Of course, wave will be used. Like with the different, and then all your POSC, LOSCs, and then VAS also very rarely used. Kitting if you are using working on automobile industry only it will be useful because I never worked on any automobile project so far, so I never worked on the kit. But I will cover a whole kit process. Okay. So ad management, yes, I used ad management some of the projects, but yeah, ad also very rarely used. We'll discuss in detail about all these topics. But slotting, yeah, if you want, I can cover, but that's not that so important to know the slotting. Wave, of course, yes, wave management is very, very important. And one thing to understand, so you should be strong enough on the integration, all the transactions happening between along with the SD, along with production, with QM, right? So and so TM is also like if TM is used, but unfortunately we cannot use TM here. So TM integration, and I'll explain what how TM integrated with EWM, and so TM integration. So these integrations are very very important, and all the functionalities available within these modules integration is also important. So if you are having this entire knowledge of covering all these five modules, all the scenarios of these five modules in detail within the EWM, then we are good. We are good. We are really good.
Will you cover like any integration like FAT, SAT, SIT integration? Will you, I mean, cover in this curriculum?
I mean, SIT, system integration testing.
Yeah, SAT, FAT.
Yeah, those are all for enhancements, right? Whatever we are discussing now here is, it's kind of a FUT SITs only. So if I take if I start the process, I create a purchase order and inbound delivery. So everything is, we will test end to end. What is that inbound delivery created, purchase order created, how it goes. And these are all testing only. So we are testing everything, right? So we configure test, we configure test, we configure test for all the scenarios. Enhancement part, when it comes to enhancements, and then I'll explain what is FUT, what is SIT, and those scenarios. And also I'll explain the data loads. So during your cutover, if you are going with decentralized EWM, and how the cutover happens, like, so you, how to load the materials, vendors, you have a packaging specifications, how to load the inventory. If you are using the legacy warehouse system, so you want to load the inventory also, right? By that go live date, and then how to load the inventory. So that inventory load templates and then transactions, I'll explain everything related to the project go live. Okay. Any other doubts?
I'm good. Thank you.
Hey, thanks everyone. Uh, Maybe Naveen will explain the next.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for the demo, Ram. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks everyone. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Transactions. Any transactions to be recorded or to be executed in EWM system, first and foremost, we need to define an organization structure. So not only the EWM organization structure, so we should have complete organization structure of other modules also, and definition and then assignments linking between the organizational units. Then only we can able to do any of the master data or transaction data in SAP system. So we will see what kind of organizational share screen. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Can anyone confirm?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. So we have to define a EWM org structure. So define a EWM org structure as we discussed, right? So we have to define so much of organization structure belongs to other modules also. Without this, we cannot proceed anything. So we will see in the system, the org elements needs to be defined today. And if time permits, then we will see the assignments parts also. Okay. So what we have to define to start with is the first company code. First one is company code we have to define. So this is comes under the financial accounting. So all financial related, your GL accounts, your cost, whatever the transactions we are doing, if you are buying something from the vendors, and then that will be recorded into your financial transaction in the form of accounting documents. And if you sell something, if you do the post goods issue, selling something, that will be recorded. So first and foremost important organizational element is company code. So this comes under the financial accounting. And the next one, what we are going to define is the plant code, called as a plant code. So what do you mean by plant code? So plant where some of the manufacturing activities are happening. Not only the manufacturing, say for example, your warehouse is also a plant. So where you store the goods, that is also a plant. Where you manufacture, that is also a plant. Okay. So some of the transit plants are there. So we will discuss what is plant and what operations we will be doing at the plant level. So typically, if you, in the layman language, if I try to explain, so it's called as a factory. So big factory, within the factory, so you do produce some of the goods, and to produce some of the goods, we need to have different departments coordination. Like, someone has to buy the raw materials to produce your goods, and someone plan your production, and someone sell your production, right? So once goods are produced, someone has to sell. That is a marketing department or a sales department. And then someone has to inspect your stock goods, whatever you produce. That is a quality control. And the place where you store the goods, it's called a inventory place, right? So where you store the goods, in terms of whether it is you have a EWM or WM or don't have a WM, the place where you store is called a kind of a physical place. So that is also one of the department, right? So to produce one particular good, so we need to have so many departments coordination. You need to have your HR department to hire the people. So that is also one of the department, right? So plant is very very important org element, and it is also called as a valuation area. So where your goods will be valuated. So this is the worth of inventory I have. If you ask me, like, hey, how much inventory you have? Say I have, like, 100 boxes of this material. The cost of this particular material is this much per. So valuation happens at the plant level. So first company code we have to define. So this comes under the all financial activities will be done under the company code. And then the next organization element is plant. Plant is typically, it's kind of a factory. For now, you understand this is as a manufacturing plant. And as I said, we do have a different plants also for only warehouse. So we call those as a distribution centers. Why we have a distribution centers? Say for example, in a factory, you don't have a much space. Like, you produce and don't store anything there. So whatever the goods you produce, you move to another place. Maybe it will be within your premise or it will be somewhere else. Okay. So if you want to treat that as a physical space as a plant, so that call it as a distribution center. So distribution center as a plant, you don't do any manufacturing activities. You keep the stock and then issue to your customers. So that is called as a distribution centers. So we can define manufacturing plants, distribution center, everything in SAP as a plant code. So once plant is defined, under the plant, we have to define a storage location. This is very, very important to connect to our EWM, either WM or EWM. So storage location is the integration point for us, not the plant. It is only a storage location. So what do you mean by storage location? Storage location is a physical space where you keep the goods. Okay, so this particular place in a room, I keep only raw materials. So this is called as a raw material storage location. Some other physical space, you keep only your packaging materials, your carton boxes, and then whatever different packaging materials, right? You keep particular material there. Those are all called as a packaging materials. And you keep some other place your ingredients. Okay, and then some of the chemicals you keep some different particular places. So every material where you are storing, if you are dividing that space into different parts, and you have to create those many storage locations. And within the storage location, say for example, I created a 5 or 4 storage locations. Is all storage location belongs to our EWM operations? If yes, we have to link it to EWM. So say I will be handling only my finished goods under EWM, and then my raw materials will be still under the storage location, only IM. So we don't need any EWM activities for those my raw materials, and you don't link to your EWM. We'll discuss how the linkage, what is the linkage, everything. So storage location is exactly a physical space within the plant. So you can divide where you are keeping the stock. So if you are keeping raw material, that is kind of a raw material storage location. Finished goods, one storage location. Packaging material, one storage location. Your plant maintenance related activities, any of the materials you have, so that is one of the storage location. So yeah, so we can create storage locations in SAP system under the plant. So once you define the plant, under the plant we will define a storage locations. There is no restriction. You can create n number of storage locations in the system based on the usage. It differs from industry to industry. There is no fixed rule that say I need to go with only one storage location, 2 or 3, nothing like that. And we have to create one more argument called purchase organization. So purchase organization is the department responsible for procuring the goods. So they buy the whatever required for the plant operations. So they buy all the goods, be it as a raw materials they buy. So they negotiate with the vendors and then made a contracts with the vendors. So this department is responsible for negotiations with the vendors for the better prices. So they buy the raw materials, they buy whatever is required for your factory. So they buy everything. So that's called a purchasing organization. So one purchase organization is mandatory to create any of the purchase orders. So this is most important, the org element under the purchasing side. So we have to define a purchasing organization. It is nothing but a one department, group of people who is responsible for procuring your goods. They buy the goods for your needs.
I have a question. See, suppose already purchase or company codes are defined by other modules. Then in EWM, do we use those or do we create any
No.
directly we don't have to create new, right?
We have to use those. We don't create. But since it is a training system, right? So without defining those, we cannot proceed our training, right? So we don't have different other modules, guys, for us to help to create these org elements. That's the reason we need to start defining everything into SAP system. Then only we can able to proceed. Okay. So in a real time, we don't define anything in any of these organization elements as a EWM consultant. So whatever it is defined by them, we have to use. We have to link to our EWM.
Storage locations, who will create
it is under the MM. Yeah.
Okay.
It is a giant discussion in the initial, if we are going for first go live, right? It's kind of a giant discussion between all the modules, how many stores, and also with the business, right? So how many locations we have, are we really managing the raw materials in EWM system? Is it required or not? Our packaging material, can we handle all the operations in EWM or not? Or we are going with only finished goods at EWM for time being? And then because of the space constraint. So it is all a giant discussion, during the requirement gathering phase.
Okay.
So purchase organization we discussed. And the second one is, next org element is sales organization. Same like purchase organization, where we procure the goods. It is kind of a opposite to the purchase organization. Sales organization, where the group of people sell the goods. They sell the goods. They negotiate with the customers, outside the customers, what are all the materials they are selling, and they made a contract with the prices, price contracts, right? So they made the agreement with the customers, and then creates the sales organization based on the customer needs. Say if the customer wants, hey, please send this material like 100 tons on this one. So this is my delivery date. I need this. So accordingly, in SAP system, we'll create a sales order to delivery. From the delivery, it will go to your warehouse and then do the picking activities, and then finally do the PJ. Truck leaves and then will reach to the customer location. So to perform the sales related activities, to create any sales order or to create any delivery, so sales organization is very, very important. And we do have a distribution channels on the division. So distribution channel is nothing but kind of a retail, we can say, the line of the business, retail or like wholesale. For example, I'm giving just a layman example. So retail line or a wholesale line. So that's called up the distribution channel. And division is what kind of a product it is. So division will be in the product master, material master we will have. So all three combination we call it as a sales area. So your sales organization, your distribution channel, and the division is called as a sales area. So this is one of the sales line area. So my sales organization, and I'm doing wholesale, and these are all the 10 products comes under this. So this is called one sales area. So that is what I have mentioned here. It has a sales area. So all these three belong, combined together, call it as a sales area. So once we define these important org elements, your company code, plant, storage, location, purchase organization, and all these, then we can start your WM master data or linkaging with the WM. So we'll open the system, we'll define one by one whatever we have discussed so far. Any non-SAP guys here who is seeing the SAP first time?
Yeah, it's me, sir.
Okay. Yeah, please do let me know if you have any questions. Like these terminologies are bit new for you, so that's the reason I'm just trying to explain kind of a just how to relate with your day-to-day activities or life.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll take the basic examples, like you go to supermarket, you see the rack. So I'll try to correlate with your EWM terminologies with your day-to-day life of activity. So this is SAP logon screen, the application where we try to log in. So you do have all the credentials like this. What kind of a systems you have in your if you go to your job once you get placed into SAP, right? So this is what the login screen we have. So we do have a different systems listed here. One development system, quality system, pre-production system, production system. So we do have so many systems listed in the SAP logon pad. This is called as SAP logon pad, and all your systems are listed here. So we are using, say, for example, the moment you click like this, yeah, so you will get like this. Okay, you will get like this logon screen. And so client, which client normally you do your operations or configurations, whatever it may be, right? So select that particular client. So this client will be given by the basis what client we are going to log in, and then enter your user ID. So user ID will be created by security guys, and then with your user ID and then password, whatever the password you have given. And default language always comes as English. And if you are working for different other country guys, right? So since in India we use English, and if you go to China, so they may be logging with Chinese language. And if you go to France, they log in with the France language. Who they don't operate their operations in English, they don't understand English, so it will be defined under their local language. So SAP supports almost all languages across the globe, including Hindi also. We have a Hindi also as a language pack in SAP. So yeah, like that we have to go and log in with your user ID. I think for me it is a auto login here. So I'll just click our system. So it automatically log in into your. The moment you log in, it will come as this screen. This is called SAP Easy Access screen. And so we do have so many menus here, like logistics, like, yeah, SAP menu. So if I go to logistics, under the logistics, you can see we have so many modules: materials management, sales, logistics execution, EWM, TM, production. So whatever we discussed so far, right? So org elements, those are all modules listed here. So this is called easy access front-end transactions. So you do execute your business transactions here. But to perform the business transaction, say for example, if I want to create a purchase order, I will let you know all these transactions code later. Say ME21N is the to create a purchase. Creating a purchase order. So we need to have a supplier. We need to have org elements, whatever I explained, right? Purchase organization, company code. So these are all the configurational items. Unless until we configure anything, we cannot perform with the transactional data. So first we have to define everything configured in the system, the backend, and then only they can run the front-end transactions. To go into configuration, the first transaction is SPRO. If you want to note it down, maybe you can note it down. So the first transaction you go inside is SPRO, and this is a transaction command area where you enter all your transactions. SPRO. Hit enter, and it will go. The moment you enter the SPRO, it is calling your customizing. So where do you configure your all your organization areas, and click on SAP reference IMG implementation guide. So once you go inside, we do have so many nodes here. We have so many nodes, and people are configuring their respective area under materials management, sales, right, logistics, distribution, and then warehouse management, transportation, quality, plant maintenance, production planning. So all these are different module people. They go inside and then do their relevant configuration. But before that, we have to create a organization structure or enterprise structure. The node is under the IMG. You have to go inside enterprise structure. Go into the enterprise structure and then just expand from here. And we have a two parts here. One is definition, second one is assignment. First we have to define. Under the definition, the first one is under the definition also, as we mentioned, we have a different modules all here. We have logistics general, metals management, logistics execution, and controlling company code relevant data under the financial accounting, sales and distribution, everything. We'll see one by one. Just open the financial accounting. This, the first node, you can select it as define, edit, copy, delete, check to company code. Select this and then copy, delete, check company code. The next node is copy, delete, check company code. We are copying one of the reference company code or a standard company code because we don't know, right? So I'm not the financial guy. I don't know what needs to be defined under the company. That's the reason I'm just copying one of the reference company code so that it copy everything, all your GL accounts, currencies, prices, everything will be copied from the source company code. So we will see what are all the company codes we have in the list already defined by someone. Right, so we have a different company codes here. You have 1,000, and then 1710 is also. So there are many. I don't know which one is the name. Change the name also here. So for time being, I'll just copy with 1,000 or 1710. Both are fine. Also some change their name. Okay, that's not. So I'll select and then copy as, or else we'll go to, you go here, first node, I'll come from the start. So under the enterprise structure, definition, edit, copy, delete, check company code. So here there is a copy org object. Copy org object. And what is your from company code? Say if your from company code is 1,000, and what will be your to company code? Is our company code. Let's suggest some name or some name. So you can find the numbers also. So that's okay. I'll go with say PT CC, for example. So now it is asking the reference company code as local currency is USD. Do you want to allocate a different local currency into your target company? It is saying the 1,000 is maintained as USD. Want to maintain USD or you want to change the currency? If you are okay with the USD, if you are defining a US plant codes, US company codes, and then you can continue. Say for example, if you are copying to into your Indian company code, then we can change it to the different currency. Yeah, you can select yes, and then what is the currency you want to maintain for your copy company code? I say INR. So it will be replaced to your new company code and replaced with INR. Keep pressing yes, yes, yes. And then do you really want to transport? Yes.
So normally in a project for a company, they provide all this the company. So how many company codes will have like do the business
Every
provide
country,
these?
yeah, every country you operate, right? So one company code will be written.
So for each country, it will be one company code, or they will be divided also.
There is no strict rule of that based on the operation, but it will normally one company code should be fine. Okay.
So that number, the number we give, right? So that is the same means like, do they provide or do we create that in the SAP only, that number, or in the
No,
external
it's
also?
all a giant discussion, as I said, right? So every company maintains some of the naming conventions, like so they do some prefixes. Okay, a plant should be like first 2 digits will be like this, like first digit. Say for example, if I go with first digit as a 1, I understand that is as a manufacturing plant. So if your plant code starts with a 2, I understand that as a distribution center. So every company maintain their own naming convention. It's not a fixed rule, but it is a 4-digit key, so you can maintain anything: alphanumeric, or only numbers, or combination, or only alphabet, or a combination of alphanumeric, anything. But there is no hard stop rule that you have to go with only this one. So it is giant efforts by the different departments, and then they decide, say, hey, this is what our naming conventions we have to use going forward also. If any new plant to be added into the system, this is my rule. I need to start with 1 or 2 or 3. Even for storage location also, you can maintain some of the naming conventions. So if I have a 10 plants, and for under the each plant, so I say, for example, my storage location starts with A, so that is for warehouse. My storage location starts with B, that's for raw material. C, that is for packaging and ingredients. And if it is a 500, A 500, for example, all my 500s are belongs to my EWM warehouse. If it is A 100, that is non-EWM warehouse. So these are all the predefined rules will be defined during your requirement gathering or something, right? So that's kind of a giant approach. And then they made a rule at the organization level that these rules has to be followed going forward also.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. It's not a single person decision or something. It's kind of a giant discussion.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So for any configuration you save, it will be stored under the transport request. So this transport request, and then it will be given, if you don't, normally it will be given by the basis guys, like, they create a transport, and for your configurations, for your workbench request, and we'll discuss what is config and then what is workbench request going forward. So, and it is asking for customizing request, and if you have predefined transportation request number, and we can give that number. And since I don't have, I'll just say click on create. But normally in your the original industry where you place, right, the projects you are working, this transport request will be given by the basis guys with the charm road. Okay, so I can give anything like org structure. I'm defining org structure, and then the transport request number is generated. Whatever you are configuring, it will be stored under this number. All the tables, everything will be stored under the tables, and their relevant data will be stored under this particular transport request. I'll show you once it is saved. Say continue. Once you provide your request number, keep continue. So everything will be copied to your source company code to your destination. So company code 1000, copy to your company code, say for example BTCC. Okay, now we can see the company code created. We can go to the edit company code and then click on the position, search for your company code. Yes, it is created, but all the names, whatever it is from the source, it automatically copied here. And you can see the currency is changed to INR, and the rest of the information is same. You can say if I rename it, and don't worry, these org elements are created by different respective module guys, and then we need to concentrate only from the EW onwards. But better to know everything here. Okay. So where your company is registered. Okay. And what is your country? So you have all the countries listed here in standard SAP. So IN is for India. So INR, and then what language do you follow? So we follow English, and then you can mention here as a English. And once you edit the relevant information, if you click on this address, you can mention the address of company where you have registered. Okay, so we can register the company code address. This is a company, and then you can see. I'm just giving some relevant one. I mean, some random description here, but in the real time, you will be giving exact what is your company code and what is the name two of this company code, and what country it is, and you can mention the region also where it is registered. Under IN, each state is kind of a region. So you have a different regions here, right? So you can define. If it is a region is Delhi, you can search for it. And any postal box, postal code, pin code, and everything you can mention, telephone number, mobile number, fax, email IDs, and everything you can mention in this address. But for timing, I'm saying, okay, I don't want to maintain anything here. But in the real time, you maintain all these relevant information. What is this fax, emails, and everything will be maintained, and the address, what city it is. So any street number and any postal code, so you can maintain everything here. I'll say continue, and then say save. So all your changes also will be prompting to the customizing. So it will be stored under the same transportation request. Okay, the first argument is created as company code BTCC. And whatever the transport request, it is saved, right? You can see the transport request. SE09 is the transaction. SE09, and under my name. So since it is created under my name, and you can see the customizing request and then workbench request. So ours is customizing and then modifiable, still under the modifiable only. We have not released this. And you can see here. So we went into this IMG node, edit, copy, delete, check company code. We did some of the configurations here, and everything is stored. What you have done, everything is stored here. So your company code is BTCC, and if you double click on the task, and it will show which tables the information is stored. Say T001 is the company code table. So whatever the entries you have recorded, it will be stored under this. Then you change your address also. So address also stored under this particular table. So whatever you configure, it will be stored and then logged under the tables. And we move this transport request from development system to quality system, and then we do the testing there in the quality, and then from the quality it will move to the, either you have a pre-production, it will move to pre-prod, or directly to the production system. So that is called as a landscape, transport route of landscape. So everything will be configured under the dev box, and treat this as a dev box. Okay, so we are configuring and everything. Once this is done in the real time, so we do have a different landscapes, dev, quality, pre-prod, prod. Some companies follow pre-prod, and some companies directly dev, quality, and production. So from the dev, whatever you do the configurations, it will be transported to the next system, and the basis will take care of those activities to move the transports from one system to another system. And once transports are moved, and we can test all our transactions. If everything is good, business users also will be tested during your first go. If it is a fresh go live, everybody will be tested, all the scenarios, and then finally it will be moved to your production system. From there, your production activity starts in the production system. What about the transport request? Maybe SAP guys know this, but non-SAP guys, it is very new. Any change you are doing, any configuration you are doing, that will be logged or stored under the one request called, that is called as a transport request. Transport request. So so you release these transport requests. Once you are done with your activities, you can release and then give it to the bases. They will transport this TRs to your further systems. Okay. So company code is done, and then next what we will be defining is, I close this financial. We can define controlling area. Either this node or a separate node is also there. We'll define the controlling area later. We'll go to the plant. So logistics general. Here you have a copy, delete, check plant. Copy, delete, check plant. Either you copy your plant or you go ahead with the new entries also. Any of the one is fine. Copy, delete, check plant. We can copy, or if we are comfortable, we know what activities needs to be done for our plant, then we can always define also. Anything is fine. So if we are very comfortable, MMI, and then we can go ahead with the define plant. I'll go with the define. And later I will do whatever the activities is.
So in that controlling, we do define the plant?
No, in the controlling, we define a controlling area. So that is also comes under the costing. FICO module, right? Financial and then controlling.
Okay.
So they maintain the controlling area. So we'll define this controlling area also. This is also important to perform all over it. So without org structure, you cannot do anything in the system. So define plant. Time being, I'm just going it as a new, maybe my first plant. And factory calendar. So what is factory calendar? Factory calendar is like, it indicates, are you working for only 5 days? Are you working for 7 days? What are all the holidays you have in this particular year? So everything will be created under the factory calendar. Okay. So based on the factory calendar, say for example, if you are trying to create a purchase order, you say the factory calendar Saturday or Sunday or a holiday, for example. And if you give a date while creating the purchase order, I need the goods on falling on so and so Saturday. So SAP system will give a warning. So is it realistic date because of holiday? And then it is not only for purchasing, for every other model. So if you are doing any manufacturing planning activities, right? So Saturdays, Sundays will be included from the working days list. So similarly for your shipping activities, in your shipping points, you do have this particular factory calendar. So are your shipping activities happening on Saturday, Sunday? So maybe your factory is working all 7 days. All production is happening all 7 days, but your shipping activities like loading, picking goods happening only on Saturday, Sunday. Then you do have a different factory calendars. One is for the plant with the 7 days working calendar, and one is for your shipping point where only 5 days as a working calendar, right? So that is what the factory calendar. Within the factory calendar, you have a holiday calendar. Say, for example, you can list based on the factory where it is available. Say this factory is in Hyderabad, for example, right? So in the Hyderabad, this factory calendar, what are all the regional holidays for this? Okay. So 10 or 15 regional holidays in a year. So that will be created under the holiday calendar. And then you can assign that to your plant factory calendar, so that system understands how many working days, do you have any holidays in this space, in those areas. So those will be considered as a non-working days. So for time being, I will just give the standard factory calendar what is available. Okay, so I just gave the factory calendar and go to your address. So for every org element, you can, there is a provision to maintain your address also. And where it is available. This plant is located in Hyderabad. In your region. So similarly, you can maintain all your addresses also. Plant address, plant telephone, mobile fax, email, and everything can be maintained. So for time being, I'll just say. Now it will prompt for again the transfer request. As I said, every change or everything in the configuration will be stored under one request called transportation request. We'll say now country and the region automatically copied from address to here. So plant is also done. Then we can do the division also. We will define the division. Or we can use the standard divisions what is available here. So I can use the standard division, product division 01. So, or else we can define BT also. Division will be assigned under the material master. What kind of a product it is. Yeah. Normally divisions will be with product relevant information. What kind of a product, pharmacy products, whatever. So it will be there. Apple Life. So someone created different products, right? So for time being, I just created it as a generic name BD. But in the real time, it will be defined like how many divisions we have. Those many divisions will be created based on the product lines. But this comes under the normally sales guys is responsible of taking care of the division. Now I'll go to the materials management. I'll come to sales later. I'll go to the materials management. And then maintain storage locations. And to maintain storage location, first and foremost, you should have the plant code defined here. So the moment I click on maintain storage location, it will ask for plant code, under which plant you are creating your storage location. Say if my plant is this one, under this, you can go to new entries and define your storage location and their relevant distribution. Like as I mentioned, right? You can define n number of storage location, but not necessarily all the storage location belongs to your EWM. So you can maintain only IM level, not the warehouse. And we don't want any warehouse operations for those materials where we store this under this location. We don't need any EWM activities, or we don't need any WM activities. So that can be just a definition, but while assigning where we actually link your storage location to your EWM warehouse, that we can see. And So naming conventions we can use. That's what I said, right? Every company follows their naming convention. Say if I say a 500. So if I say 500 is the moment I see 500, for example, I understand this is EWM relevant storage location. The moment I see A, this is my finished goods. That means in this location, I store my finished goods and my finished goods are EWM managed. So I do all my transactions in EWM for this storage location, whatever it is stored here. So this is what naming convention I was talking about. I'm just giving an example, not necessarily this is the same. So if I say A, that is finished goods, and 100, for example, if I give a 100, so this storage location, the moment we see, we understand this as, this is my FG, and 100 is not EWM location, it's my IM location. So if you have anything like this, you can mention. Say, if I say RM, I'm going with the raw materials, and then like that also you can create one. But we want to discuss one concept called ROD and AFS. So for that reason, I'll create it as a one storage location. Receive on stocks. And then AFS. For I'm just saving. So I have two storage locations. Both we will link to our EWM. We will discuss what is ROD and then what is AFS available per se. And you can maintain storage location address also here if it is different from plant. Say for example, you defined a plant and you defined a storage location, but this storage location, though you created under this plant, so this is just 3 kilometers away to your plant operations or 2 kilometers away to your plant operations where the address is different, and you can still have a provision to maintain this address. So if it is within the plant and the same address of the plant, just leave it as a plant. So by default, plant address will be applied. If you maintain specifically any address, then that will be your storage location address. Or else, if it is within the premise, it will be the same.
But in real time, do they have the different address, the storage locations?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. Like, so you can create a one plant code, but so 1 or 2 kilometers away, you have a physical space where you store the raw materials there, and then whenever it is needed, there will be shuttles running between that space to factory and keep getting your stock from the trucks. Then yeah, some of the scenarios I have seen, like where we have a different storage location address. So the idea is, if it is different from plant address, you have to maintain. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But most of the cases, that is within the plant. 9% of the cases. So storage locations also defined. And now is maintain purchasing organization. You can define your purchasing organization. So I'll give the same name as company. It is easy to understand. You can give any name. So what is purchase org? Purchase org is one of the organizational element responsible for procuring the goods to your plant. So every save is going to transport request. So I'm storing everything on the particular transport. So it doesn't have any other control, just a name. That's it. Purchase organization, just a name. So what we have defined so far, we defined a company code and we defined a plant. So under the plant, we defined 2 storage locations and we defined a purchase organization and the storage location. And now I will go to the sales and distribution. So under the sales and distribution, we do have the sales organization and the distribution channel. So go to sales organization. I'll define everything. I'll give the same name as company code, so that will be easy to remember. And that's it here. I don't have anything here to define. And this is for some yearly data. So only thing is address related information to be maintained. Same like purchase organization, this is kind of a one org element, and where this org is responsible for sales activities. So your sales area is also sales organization is defined, and then go ahead with the distribution channel. So distribution channel, as I mentioned, right, retail or wholesale or whatever it may be, and the line of this one. And we can also define one distribution channel, or you can use the existing ones also. BP distribution channel. So we'll go to the logistics execution. And here we define a shipping point. Shipping points are important. And then warehouse number also. So we have to define a warehouse number with a 3-digit key. With a 3-digit key, and doesn't have any control data here, just a name you can define. Say PPC, for example. Just a warehouse number is defined, and this is just a 3-digit key, doesn't have any control as of now. And I'll also do the shipping point. So let's say plant as a shipping point. Same, I use the same plant name as a shipping point name, but not necessarily should be the same. Any 4-digit key should be fine. And as I mentioned, right, factory calendar. Your factory is working for 7 days, but your shipping activities are happening only for 5 days, and then you have to give the relevant factory calendar here. Okay. I'll just give for time being the same what I have given for factory. So I'll be giving the same here. And address for everything that will prompt with address. And say maintain it's
And what is this is used for, the shipping point?
Shipping point is the physical place from where your picking activities, where your trucks comes in, right? And then you do your picking and then loading activities happening, right? That is called a shipping point.
Okay.
Go with some pictures while discussing the scenarios, right? So what is shipping point, how it looks like. We'll go with the Google and see like how the plant looks like for fresh SAP guys, right?
Like difference means what it will be like the shipping point and the warehouse both reside the same, right? Or
Not necessarily. Within the same big warehouse, you do have 5 or 6 shipping points, for example. So one shipping point where you operate finished goods related, like activities are happening, and some of the other shipping point where you have doing different activities, right? So at normally it will be one per plant, but based on the physical differentiation, you can define a different shipping points. We'll discuss going forward, like in detail.
okay,
Yeah, so that you can understand what it is exactly. Yeah, I think we defined all our org elements. Okay, so we'll stop here. Tomorrow we'll continue with the rest of the org elements, like controlling area is one, and then tomorrow we will see how to link all these org elements, how to assign. The linkage should happen between all these org elements. We'll discuss that in detail tomorrow. So any doubts? Anyone having any doubts? Please feel free to ask me. Any doubt is fine by the way. Be it as a silly one, it might be silly for you, it might be useful for others. Yeah. So please don't hesitate to ask any doubts. If you don't understand anything, or if you want to know what is the plan, how it look like. So we'll discuss in detail going forward. Like we'll go for Google and see some pictures how the plant looks like. So what do you mean by plant? How many different kind of plants we have? Right. So what is the company called? How it represents? What are all the importance of the company? So just knowing is always good. So though it is not from our knowledge.
just a small question actually. So compared to other models, I got to know like that EWM is tough, right? I don't know. The people say that, but why
Yeah,
do they?
tough in the sense the vast compared to other models, it is vast. As I mentioned, right? So you should have I mean, at least the knowledge on other models. Like you cannot just like that start working on like creating the purchase orders. You should understand because we do have integration points from EWM with the different modules, as I mentioned, right? So we have integration with MM. So you should know what is the purchase order, how it looks like, how to create an inbound delivery, how the inbound delivery get distributed to your EWM system. And from there, you do your the regular WM activities, EWM activities, right? So you should have some knowledge on MM, some knowledge on SD, PP, QM side. So yeah, I think some little bit of extra knowledge on other modules are required, and within the EWM also number of scenarios are vast, and then different processes, different configurations, and then it is not common for warehouse to warehouse. So that is one of the toughest part is, say for example, I have done one implementation, for example. So and it may not necessarily the same knowledge you may apply for other warehouse. So that is might be completely different altogether, right? So yeah, so that's the reason. The physical warehouse structure is also different. So how much is the space available? And are we handling raw materials? Are we handling finished goods in that warehouse? So everything matters. So like it is not common solution from one implementation to another implementation. It is always a altogether different. But for other models, it might be more or less similar. Like in MM, So it will be the same, like procurement operations. But when it comes to the EWM, it all together vary from the go live to go live, or one project to the another project. It is completely different. So you may be working now for pharma. So pharma warehouse is completely different. Okay, how they operate is completely different. Tomorrow you get an opportunity to work for automobile warehouse. Automobile is completely different, and the different processes. We have a different process for automobile. So yeah, base structure is same, but what I'm trying to explain is different. These business scenarios are keep changing based on the different business ones. Yeah. So that's the reason feels little bit of tough, but yeah, that's the reality. But that's not a problem. So if, as long as you concentrate on the core, like the standards of EWM, all the inbound, outbound, production, and you can go ahead and then do for any of the implementation. That's not a problem. But there will be definitely new learnings from each and every project for sure. But we cannot cover everything, all the industries, pharma, automobile, chemical. We cannot cover everything in this course right? So we'll go ahead with the standard, how standard inbound works, how standard outbound works, and then physical inventory, how we can do production, how we will integrate, quality, how we'll integrate. Yeah, so those standard scenarios we should be very, very thorough and then deep knowledge on this. And based on that, you can go ahead and then do for any of the company.
Okay.
Don't worry, we'll discuss in detail all
Okay.
our core business process. Yeah. Any other doubts? TM is even tougher than transportation management.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very tough and very vast also. Okay, so if there are no doubts, then we'll close the call for today. We'll continue for tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.